Hands and we can get started. Take you off mute there,
Scott?
Jamie. Hey, hello, I can hear you.
Oh, yes, I believe I am now unmuted.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much, Scott, for getting us started. Just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone once again for making the time to attend the Office Hours Monday webinar. So before we get rolling here, just got to get a little couple things done here. Just everyone needs to take into consideration that we are not registered investment advisors here at Trade Ideas. So all the information that we share with you today in this webinar is strictly for educational purposes. So what we're going to be doing today is very, very exciting. Now, before we get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everyone to direct their eyes to this chart here. And what you're seeing here is simply a 5-minute chart of the SPY today and the action, that happened throughout the day. And this little gray area is the pre-market, and then here we have the open. So, based on the action of the S&P today, I would like everyone to answer a poll question that Scott's about to pull up, taking into consideration the action from the market today. I want you to rate how difficult or easy your trading day was, and I believe Scott's got it set up on a scale of 1 to 5. So if everybody's had a chance to see this image, then now we're going to throw the poll up. All right, Scott?
I'll just leave that up for another moment for people to vote.
All right.
And
Interesting.
I'll close it down in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for voting. I'll share that with the audience.
All right. And so very interesting here because everybody's kind of coming in right in the middle of the road, right? It was a moderately difficult day in the markets. And the reason I wanted to display that chart and get everyone's sentiment is because when people see a chart like this on the S&P, maybe they're a trader, maybe they're not, maybe they're observing. But the point here is when we see a market uptrend slowly like this all day, a lot of people, make the misconception, oh, that must have been an easy day. So I just thought I would get it straight from the horse's mouth. And of course, you came in right about where I thought you would, because guess what? Even when the market's trending straight up or trending straight down, it's never an easy day. It's just not in the nature of the market. So what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about the upcoming AI channel and the trades that cluster of strategies issues today. And we're going to be taking a look at these actual trades. So, everybody just needs to kind of keep in mind here, I'm a little bit of an old horse. I've been trading since 1996. Almost 20 years. I can't believe it. But I have to tell everybody this. As long as I've been trading, of course, you can imagine I've traded all kinds of different strategies, all kinds of different indicators, with limited success when you stretch it out over the long term. You're constantly having to change and readapt and work harder and harder and harder. So, where was this technology when I was a young trader? But it's through the trials and tribulations that we've all been through at Trade Ideas and our own personal trading that this technology was birthed in the first place. So I don't get excited very easily. It takes a lot to get me excited. But after interacting with these strategies today and the other days that I've been testing this, it's hard to contain the excitement. All right, so without further ado, let us get into the lesson for today. So what I'm going to show you first, this panel right here that you're seeing, and let's just push this other guy out of the way so nobody gets confused right now. But this panel right here is the AI strategy window, which contains the stable of strategies. All of these are longs pretty much. If it is a short strategy, it will say short. So what we're going to view right here, these are all of the trades that this little stable of strategies pumped out today. And we've got some columns of information up here. Obviously over here, it's identifying which strategy issued the symbol. Was it a long or a short here? What time was the signal generated and the symbol? Obviously, we all need to see what symbol it was. And then over here, we have the entry price. Okay, so I've got these sorted off, or excuse me, sorted by entry time, starting right off of the open. Now, before we get too far into detail on this, I'd like to point out the windows. Obviously, we've just got a daily chart here. We've got a 5-minute intraday chart here. And then here is one of our single stock windows. So, for example, if you put a real stock in there, and by the way, everybody who's used a single stock window, and for maybe some of you who have not really utilized this window, these metrics right here are filters. So you can pick and choose which metrics you would like to see when you get the snapshot of your stock. So, for example, let's pull up, let's just take one of these trades here. So what I did is I just double-clicked on KSS. Now, when I do that, not only does it populate my chart for me, and we can see the exact bar that this entry signal was in, but it also populates this window as well. And what I'd like to really key on, I put up some other fundamental metrics here, but what I'd really like for everyone to key on today is the Smart Stop, which is a proprietary formula that we came up with not too long ago, which basically attempts to create a customized stop for each and every stock based on its own personal characteristics for the day as far as volume and range and things of that nature go. So this guy is going to be recommending a stop for each and every trade that we choose to make. So now we could jump in right off the open, and by all means we can go back and review these trades, but let's just pick a good medium ground here. Let's say we wait for, you know, maybe the first 30 minutes of the market to get settled out and try to kind of figure out, you know, where the direction is for today. Now, if we're playing the hindsight game, once again, everybody, you know, it's easy to look back and go, well, I guess all you had to do is buy your initials. Well, we just took that poll, and even though the market went straight up today, by no means would you find somebody out there going, today was so easy, I made too much money, I'm going to have to take tomorrow off. You know, it just doesn't happen. So the thing to point out here is that during this moderately difficult trading day, here maybe you're thinking, well, the market's folding over, I better focus on the shorts. Oh, now it's going back up, better focus on the longs. So, you know, just because the market trended up, by no means does it make the day easy. But on the same token, before we start looking at the individual trades, I want everybody to take a look. Look, this is all filled up with long trades. Now if I go down to the bottom, because actually I think I'm sorting these by long and short here. Okay, so now I've resorted them by shorts. So out of this multitude of trades that we're going to be covering today, the majority of them were long. Now we still had some short opportunities. And the beautiful thing about this is because these strategies down here are so dialed in with our AI, they only fire when the conditions are right. So when you see all of these long trades being, you know, generated, and taking into consideration that today was a moderately difficult day, we're letting the AI do all of the heavy lifting for us here. So yes, we can look back as it's happening, or in hindsight and go, well, long was definitely the place to be today. But I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that were in some long trades that maybe didn't do what you hoped they would today. So what we're using here, number one, are highly customized strategies that only present themselves when the time is right. So let's take a look at the performance. And let's just resort this by, well, I tell you what, we'll just keep it here. We'll look at some of the longs first. So for example, all I have to do is double click here, and the first symbol that we're looking at is KSS. Now, for those of you who might be wondering, I am on the latest developer's version of the software, which is currently hopefully about to be an alpha. So when I double click on this symbol here, a couple things to point out. It's telling me that this is the bar in which the signal was generated. And then the price in blue was the entry price. So entry price in blue. Now, I look up here. If I did make the trade in KSS, it's such a simple process when you're using a mechanism like this, because you buy the stock. What should my stop loss be? 44 cents. If it goes 44 cents against you, obviously you would get out. So, if we take the entry price here, 46, and then what do we got? Another 8 cents, so 45.92 would have been the stop on this one. So not only is the trade in and of itself statistically inclined to go your way, but the simpler the equation, what's my stop loss? It's this. Put it in, go on to the next trade. It doesn't get any simpler, but at the same time any more powerful than what you're seeing right here. So we look at KSS. Don't think it got us out. The low there was 92, so it would have been right on the threshold. But typically what I do anyway is if my stop's going to be in the 90-something area, I'll go ahead and round it down to 89 or whatever. But in any case, for the short term and the long term, a highly profitable trade there. Then about 3 seconds later, we had HUN present itself. Entry bar here, entry price here, 1138, and look what happened to the stock. Hey, what should I use as a stop loss based on this stock's characteristics? 76 cents. Let's continue. EZPM. Entry price, entry bar. Plenty of opportunity, plenty of time to get out for a profitable trade here. And of course, all of these strategies are going to have recommended hold times and recommended stop losses. Now, as humans, sometimes we think we can make adjustments that would help the strategy. A lot of the times they hurt the strategy. So when you're dealing with statistically inclined sets like this, it's better just to follow the rules, take your trades, put in your stop losses. Because if you're doing this on a regular basis, the odds are you're going to come out ahead. So let's keep on going here. And keep in mind, this is all in the first 1 minute of the 7 o'clock hour here on the West Coast, which would be 10 o'clock for the East Coast people. So once again, WCC. Entry price over here, 48.28. We could see it here. It's also going to coincide with the blue bar here. Okay. So you can see here that all of these trades at some point become profitable. Now, of course, we don't win every trade. We do get stopped out of some, and that's just the nature of the game. But hopefully, well, never thought those words would come out of my mouth. Hopefully we'll find a loser here, because what I want to show you is what happens when you do lose in one of these trades, because we're using such tight parameters with the smart stop that your losers are going to be moderate to small, whereas your winners are going to be a considerable amount over that, and with perhaps a ratio of 3 to 1, 2 to 1 on these things. All right, so once again, we have a winning trade here. WUBA, once again, a winning trade. What would our stop loss have been here? 75 cents. Our entry was 48.81, so 48.06 would have been our stop loss. And even right here, we still didn't get stopped out. So we would have had, hold the pullback, didn't work, had another opportunity or another profitable situation develop here. We could have cut it there. And if we held it all the way to here, eventually we would have lost, but you had to work pretty hard to lose on that trade. All right, MOS. 10:07 Eastern Time at a price of 31.78. Once again, a very profitable trade, whether you held it for the short term or to the close. All right, so I hope I'm not boring anybody. I know going over all these profitable trades can get a little boring, but we're going to keep going here. HCLP. Once again, 10:08 Eastern, $7.94. And once again, a winning trade. What was my smart stop? 21 cents. Never came close. Charlie Paul Apple at 10:08 and 50 seconds Eastern. 45.12, and we can see what happened today once we made that entry. Smart stop would have been 41 cents, so we risked 41 cents to make, a point and a half. Now, if that's not a good risk-to-reward ratio, I don't know what is. And then we even have some of the smaller stocks showing up, from the penny strategies. Zinc triggered at 265 right here, and then we had a nice little run up, pretty quickly on that one. So I tell you what, now let's go the other way. Let us take a look at some of the shorts that were generated. So this one's on the open. Well, let's just go ahead and take a look at it. SIEN generated about 5 seconds into the open. So unfortunately, this is pre-market activity, and this is the open right here. So if we look at our smart stop for SIEN, 42 cents. The entry was 833. So we'd be looking at a 875 stop here, which the high of this bar was 885. So we would have gotten stopped out of this trade. But the good news about the loser is we only lost about 40 cents because we automatically knew what to put in. We didn't have to take, a big guess at it and go, well, I'll go ahead and leave a stop in at 901 over the whole number, which would have worked, but that would have just been completely total random guessing. And the reason I use that $9 mark is because, people do have tendencies to gravitate around whole numbers, whether it's for an entry or whether it's for, a stop loss. In which case, if you would have lost, that the rest of that spread there between $8.80 and $9, you may think, what's another 20 cents? Well, on that one trade, not very much. But when you compound that over and over again on your losers, it makes quite an impact on your bottom line. That's definitely true. I mean, just like commissions and slippage and all those other factors. All right, let's take another one. This one was issued about 44 minutes into the open, SPK. So we can see, hey, once again, not the best short entry. And even with a smart stop on this one, we're still not even losing a buck. So, considering that was a losing trade, there is a certain amount of solace to be taken in the fact that you'll never be in one of these trades that you let get away from you. Happens all the time. Happened probably hundreds of times today to people just like us that go, on this one, I'm just going to make an exception for this one because, I just think it's going to bounce or it's going to retrace. Well, next thing you know, they don't close out their 80, 70 cent stop loss. Next thing you know, they're down $2.70 and playing, acting like a deer in the headlights. So, we can avoid all of those trials and tribulations, all of that heartache, all of that woulda, shoulda, coulda, just by following this mechanical system who is backed by artificial intelligence that is only showing you stocks from strategies that have extremely high chances of working. Now, for those of you who have spoken to me and have had training sessions with me, I believe in the simple is better philosophy. And with this little combination right here, pull the symbol up, buy it, short it, put your stop in, it just doesn't get any simpler. And, the effectiveness that we're seeing here right now is just simply unbelievable. So let's continue with these plays. FEYE, 3061, right here once again. So even if we lost on all of these shorts today, moderate losses on each one, look at all that we got paid today playing the long plays. So we were looking around the 7 o'clock area. So let's go a little bit further down the list and let's see how these strategies continued to perform the remainder of the day. So let's go 9:15. CRR, I think we've already covered that. Let's go down, let's just skip down here to 7:29. MWE, at long last. And, you know, never thought I'd be rooting for a losing trade here, but once again, even on the longs here, I just want to show you that, you know, had you been in this trade and gotten stopped out of it, the most you would have lost is 67 cents. So if our entry was 45.93 and we backed it out 60 some odd cents, 45.30ish, we would have gotten stopped out, but it wouldn't have been that bad of a sting, especially considering all the profitable trades that is piled on before this first long loser even came into the equation. All right, there's another one on Argin, and of course a lot of this has to you know, coincide with the initial run-ups that stocks make and the pullbacks. So here we have, you know, 7:30, a good hour into the open. You know, this is also a lot of the times when these start breaking out and the opening range or the orbs start to show up, all right? So LXU breaking out right there, entry price of $15.98, and look what happened. You know, if, you know, well, it just doesn't get any prettier than this, guys. You know, entries like this never comes close to your stop loss, and it just goes, and goes. That's what we're all here for. RRC, another winning trade. ONCS. And guys, what you're going to find, you know, going through all these long trades is that the majority of these long trades succeeded today. And the beautiful thing I'd like to point out about what we're seeing here, you know, Dan, myself, a lot of the guys at Trade Ideas who've helped foster this technology and put it into a format that you're seeing now, you know, there was always the, you know, the missing space. And what I mean by that is that what you're seeing right here is not high-frequency trading in the traditional sense. It's nothing that you have to have any, you know, advanced knowledge about trading to use. It's such a simplistic system. And, you know, we're not competing with the high-frequency traders. You know, we don't have to make the entry right then and there. You know, when you're watching this window in real time throughout the day, these strategies are so precise, they're just not spitting things out left and right. You know, you'll see a new symbol up, you'll see the starter count down again from the time since that signal came out. So there's plenty of time once the signals present themselves to pull it up, make the, you know, make the entry and put your stop loss in. And, you know, a lot of the times we humans think that we know what's going on the chart and we'll want to counter that chart or whatever. But trust me, from experience, with strategies like this, the best thing you can do is just take the trade and take, you know, multiple trades a day so that you establish some kind of ratio. You know, imagine what type of profits would have been reaped today trading 100 shares of each one of these long trades. I haven't bothered to add it up, but I'm sure it would be many points. Probably enough to pay for an odds maker subscription today alone, you know, for those of you who are still on the fence. So let's go ahead and just take a look at some more of these. TEP, entry, result. APA, small loser, but you were only risking 50 cents on that one. Ah, that one is really nice. BAS, 373. Didn't make a huge move, but it's more of just the simple pattern that I'm talking about. And on that small dollar stock, that's a pretty significant percentage change. Ah, CBI, another good one. CMG. Now, check out what's going on here. CMG is a $700 stock. Maybe some of you out there would have traded it. Maybe you wouldn't have. But even if you would have traded CMG, you would have had your smart stop right here. You want to get in CMG and have a decent shake at staying in it. If it throws a little wiggle your way, okay, $3.16. probably better off just rounding it up to 330 or something like that. But see, a lot of people, if they wanted to trade a large dollar stock like that, they might be too scared to trade it. But if you know what your stop loss is, you just pop it in and treat it like any other thing, especially if you're a trader that only does a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount per trade. Doesn't matter if it's CMG or not. You only did $10,000 worth, you're still going to need to use a little over a 3-point stop. Okay, AQXP, a little stock that's been in the spotlight off and on the past few months. You can see here, made money, then came back down again. So the more I go through these, the more of this same type of action you're going to see. We buy it, it does exactly what we think it's going to do or what we hope it will. There are a lot of other patterns in the market that looked just like this, but that didn't do this. The reason these are doing this is because of the artificial intelligence that is producing these plays. All right, so I think everybody kind of gets the gist of what I'm trying to showcase here. Having this many long plays today on a long day, just the ratio that was created here, I mean, this is just about perfect. As some of you already know, I'm a big believer in the compare count windows. And it just so happened to coincide, since I'm monitoring what I believe to be institutional activity with my compare count windows and my turbo breaks up and down. After the first 30 minutes, it had approximately the same ratio of long ticks to short ticks as what you see here. And guys, that's not coincidence. It's just the way things work in the marketplace. When you can, take the data that's already there and rework it into something that makes sense, it speaks volumes. Okay, so as most of you already know as well, the AI channel was supposed to be out last week, but with software, sometimes you run into some additional issues. From what I'm being told now, the AI channel is due to be released by the end of this week. Now, not only is that exciting and fantastic for everyone involved, but it also brings up another point about the promotional pricing that we've been doing with the odds maker and how that's going to change once the AI channel comes live. So Scott, would you like me to go into detail about that, or would you do you have anything to say about that at this point in time?
No, you can keep going. I think it's a very important thing that you're going to talk about here with the odds maker and how it's going to dovetail in with the AI channel and the new features.
Right. So at present time, and let me just, I guess this would be the best thing to pull up here, is currently, if you were to sign up, on the month-to-month, you're paying $100 a month just for basic trade ideas. That does not include odds maker. So just so everyone knows, the AI channel is only going to be available to odds maker subscribers. And so, if you were paying $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year just for the basic service trade ideas with no odds maker. So here with this special, what you do is you pay for your trade ideas subscription a year in advance, and you get the odds maker for $1,088 versus $2,400 on the full retail. So we're trying to get as many people exposed to the technology before we launch this, and after that happens, after we do launch the AI channel, I don't know how much it's going up, but that price will no longer be available. So this 1088 special, which is basically us paying you to buy the odds maker, in a sense, you can look at it that way, that special will come to an end as soon as the AI channel launches, which once again should be by the end of this week. Any other facts that I'm leaving out, Scott, right now on that special? Because we don't know what the price will increase to. We just know that it's going to go up. Is that right?
Well, we haven't really decided. Most likely the 1088 price is going to go up to 1288. That remains to be seen. It may not even come back. But the point is when the AI channel is released, the value of the product increases. The odds maker is still going to be 1,100 a month, but our specials will reflect the increase in value. How close are you to the second half of the program for this webinar? Are we close to the QA section or moving into
Right.
it?
I think we can go ahead and do Q&A because, basically just wanted to make sure that everybody has exposure to this, actually see the trades that the cluster is spitting out. So I think we just go right into the Q&A now.
Sounds good. So if anyone has any questions they would like to learn about, go ahead and type that into the questions panel. And John, we don't have an exact release date on the AI channel. Absolutely, it'll be before the end of the year, but we're shooting for an alpha or beta release very soon. Let's see. So again, if you have any questions, type them into the questions panel. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for them, something that we do for all of our webinars is provide a way for those of you who are not currently a subscriber or who would like to upgrade to save some money. So I'll show you those in just a moment. Mark, the AI produces both long and short strategies. Yeah, Brenda, if you already have the odds maker, you are grandfathered into the AI. Why don't you go ahead and pull up that slide that shows the product code for the day. So if you don't currently have a subscription to Trade Ideas, you can get the 50% off by using the code Office5 when you check out. And I can direct your attention to the handouts panel in your GoToWebinar interface. You can download a PDF that'll have this page and just follow the instructions. If you're not currently a subscriber, you can get half off your first month or 25% off your first year. You get a quarter off of the lifetime odds maker license of $1,100. So you can get that for about $700. Or if you would like to get that package that Jamie was teasing earlier, where you get the entire year and the odds maker for only $10.88, go to that bit.ly link, and it's linked directly from your PDF that you can download, or you can type that in, bit.ly/SAVE900, all caps. And if you have any questions about it, just contact us at info@tradeideas.com. Cloud, we're not going to stop selling Trade Ideas anytime, but the price may change. If you're talking about a decision to buy using that the 1088 package, you're going to want to do that before we officially release the AI channel, because that will be pretty much the line in the sand when that package goes away. So you probably have a few weeks to a month. Yeah, thanks, Jack. Good to have you joining us. If you received an email about it, you'll probably get invitations to other webinars. Please join. If anyone has any other questions.
Yeah, and basically the reason we want to showcase this technology today is because we know it's one of the things that people have been talking about the most, one of the things that people are looking forward to the most. Even as I said, I'm an old dog. It takes a lot to get me excited, but after interacting with the technology the latter part of this week and today especially, I mean, the thing's performing way beyond how I thought it was going to do, which is always good, and things should only get better moving forward.
Claude had a couple of other questions, and as well as Mark. Well, first Mark asked, he's on a Mac, so he's on a Macintosh. Trade Ideas works fantastic under VMware or Parallels, so you can use an emulator, or you can use our new web version, and you can find that by just going to tradeideas.com and click on Open Trade Ideas for the Web. There's a button near the top, or scroll to the bottom, and there's a Trade Ideas for the Web link right there too. Claude was asking if the TI subscription includes the data feed. It does for all non-professional traders. So unless you're trading someone else's money on a Series 7 license, the data feed's all included. All right, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Any questions at all, shoot them to info@tradeideas.com. You can reach Jamie at jhodge@tradeideas.com. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and tune into the next next webinar. Thanks, everyone. Anything else, Jamie?
You know what? That's about it. Just want to thank everybody for attending once again. I hope you enjoyed seeing, one of the most exciting things that's come out at Trade Ideas in a very long time. So happy trading. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah, thanks.